What's good, everyone, and welcome back to another video. Firstly, if you are new around here, please drop a like on the video and subscribe, as it would be greatly appreciated. And we are starting off with building our lineups for this upcoming weekend. Now, we've been a bit unlucky over the past few weeks, and I'm hoping this week the luck comes in. We can actually win, hopefully a tier 2, a tier 1, or even a star. I'm still yet to win anything better than a tier 3. Maybe be able to grind some thresholds, so on, so forth. I'm going to try and keep this video a little bit shorter, just because the last couple of lineup builders have been quite long. But I do appreciate everyone that has stayed tuned all the way to the end. So we're going to get straight into it. We'll obviously start off with our priority lineups and then go from there. As always, I like to have a look in All-Star Limited, see who I've got at a good rating. Just to assess the situation. And as you can see, there's quite a lot of players with A's and B's and AA ratings within the team, which is obviously something I'm very, very happy about. And then we obviously go through our priority lineups. So we're going to start with our Champion Classic Limited. In goal, Unai Simon will be going in. We then have got Yuri, Danny Vivian, Paredes and DeMarcos. DeMarcos obviously played actually quite well in the last game, even though they did lose that clean sheet. Shot 16 AA, got the full 90 minutes. He is going to be starting. I like him very much as a card. Prados got the penalty given against him, sadly. Eric Martella is back. That could be an interesting matchup against 17th, 18th in the Bundesliga. But obviously, Athletic Club are playing Granada down there. And obviously, we have got the two defensive midfielders and Sanchez, who is most likely going to be playing at Cam again. He did obviously get a goal in the game against Villarreal, and Prados sadly did obviously concede that penalty, but still shot 17 AA, so I'm confident with Prados still. He's a very good player, A rated, and then we obviously have Inaki Williams and Goretzka there. Now the question is, do I play them both? Inaki Williams is in awful form at the moment. There is going to be a stage where he does come back into this form. You know, he got goal, well, decisive. Good A, decisive. But poor game, good A, decisive, good A. And then since he's been back, he's literally had one goal. AA's been okay, but he's been out of form big time compared to now. They are obviously playing Granada. He is going to start most likely. Obviously, Gurku will be going in to the team, but he has an L15 and a 38, so I may look to use Inaki Williams in, for example, 240. I may look to be a bit more sensible with my lineup options. Chances are he's going to go and bag a hat-trick now, because that always seems to happen with my teams. But when we look, I'm thinking, right, maybe I'll play another defender. Hopefully they can keep a clean sheet this time. Paredes been scoring pretty well, even lost the clean sheet last game. Pretty good defender, pretty young as well. Playing that kind of defensive stack in a game where they're playing 19th, they should realistically be keeping a clean sheet. Chance of a goal score is, well, 3 goals scored within the match is 45%. And Inaki Williams to not get a decisive action is so hard when I'm building these lineups to think about. We're going to put Paredes in. I'm going to captain Gurka. We're going to save it. We may put Inaki Williams into this lineup as well. We are then going to go into Challenger Classic Limited, which we have a few teams to put together. We will start off with the MLS boys. Obviously, Krepau got sent off in the last game, so James Pantimus will be playing. They are playing Columbus Crew within this game. Would it be better for me to actually play him in 240? Potentially. So we'll go with our standard Liège boys. We have got Boda going into the team. We then have Lafise going in as always. We have Kawebe going in as well. We then have Kanga. And we have got Yeboah, who I'm not very keen on, Yeboah, to be honest, but we're going to put him in. That's still a score of 70. They are playing against Westerlo. Westerlo are at home. Obviously, Westerlo aren't as good a team. Hopefully Standard Liège can do what needs to be done, and then we have our other Challenger Classic Limited lineup, which will be, I don't know if I want to put Backman in. If I want to put in, for example, the strongest lineup, let me have a quick look at 240. Because for 240, like I was saying, obviously we have got Pantimos with a 35 score that can go in there and is very quote-unquote cheap. And he's one of those players where it's, maybe we do split the stacks. Maybe instead of, because I have been stacking cards a lot recently, but Portland Timbers aren't the best team defensively. They've conceded so many goals recently that we could go Daniel Backman and then we can put Hoyt in at centre-back, partner those two up, and then have Evander playing with Dante Van Zier up front, and then Lewis Morgan. LA playing against New York. When we have a look, obviously LA are sitting in 6th at the moment. Goals conceded, they've conceded 12, they've scored 13. So it's a 50-50. Do we go with this? Do we break up the MLS stack and actually make it slightly different? Do I put in, for example, Felipe Moore, who's had 3 decisive actions in the last 3 games? So that's giving me a score of 63. And let's just swap it over. Let's put James in there. And if we were to put Kamal Miller in there, yeah, no, that's giving me an awful score. We'll put Daniel Batman in there. And we'll put Wesley Hoyt in there. We will split the lineups. Evander will be captain, as always. I do obviously have the opportunity to put Mratby in, Sorensen. Santiago Moreno should be back from the injury they had sustained, but we're gonna go with this. Actually, we are gonna go with that lineup, and then for the last Challenger Classic lineup, we will be going with Lucas Perard, and they need to win this game against RWDM, because if they don't, then they're most likely going to get relegated. So they need to win that game. João Silva can go there. We then have options. Once again, do we, very tough game in that game, do we go with Santiago Moreno here for the game? It's tough. Santiago Moreno should be starting. Sorensen hasn't done anything for so many games that at some point he's going to have to do something, is my thinking behind it there. We then have Mratby, who has a very tough fixture, and then we could put Santiago Moreno in and just completely split my stacks. We're going to do it. We're going to captain Santiago Moreno. That gives me a score of 71 actually. We're going to split my stacks, which is something I wouldn't normally do, but we're going to go for it. We're going to go for a larger spectrum instead of it just being reliant on one league and a set of teams within the league, within the stacks that I build. We're going to go with, right, let's just see what we can do and what we can get. We then have got our Contender Classic, which when actually looking, obviously I've been using Play Sharper, when we are looking at Kaiserslautern, Julian Krause at 65%. He is expected to be back. This is a huge game for them. This is a must-win game. As you can see, 17th playing 14th. They have to win. So Julian Krause will go in. We will obviously put Tomiak in as always. Absolute baller. We will then put in, to be honest, Yimi Chara. He actually has got a decisive action in the last game. Got an assist. Obviously we're going with the FC Kaiserslautern board. Rascal should be playing due to the fact of Niehaus getting injured. You can see he came on for 45 minutes in that game. But I will be playing with Marlon Ritter in that attacking midfield spot. Ragnar Aki will obviously go straight in. When we look at him, he's just been a very good scorer for me recently, getting a lot of decisive actions. Then he obviously had a poor game. was injured and then came back. So he will be going in, and then we will be partnering the team with, I think we'll go with, chances are they need a win and they need to keep a clean sheet. So we'll go Elvedi, we will captain Tomiak, and we will save that lineup. And then we have Contender Classic once again, where we have our J-League team. So Kim Jin Huen can go in. We then have Jokdeng, who is playing against 18th. We do have Paulo Diaz, obviously, who's a very, very good scorer, but I feel like I want to save him for my All-Star lineup, if I have an All-Star lineup. This is the issue. Do I put these players in? Who have I got? Let's have a quick check, because All-Star is actually easier to quote-unquote win rewards in recently, because so many people are putting their teams into other leagues that what you are finding is the actual rewards for All-Star in order to hit a reward is actually much, much lower, which is obviously very, very good. But then obviously if you don't win a reward, you don't win anything. Whereas if you do win a reward, you will get a box in the other leagues. Do I want to be playing with another Contender Classic season lineup, being my J-League lineup, which would be Kim in here, Jokdeng in there, Kuno in there, Usami in there, and then put someone like Paulo Diaz in? He does have a very tough matchup against Boca Juniors. Or do that I want to be, so that gives me a 62. Going into All-Star, putting the strongest players I've got left within All-Star. For example, we can put Paulo Diaz in there as well. I would probably say, to be honest, Akuno's good, but his AA score's not the best. I'd probably go for example, someone like Sanchez within there. And then obviously we have Usami or Inaki Williams for the lineup here. And then playing maybe Usami in there. And just going for that type of lineup. I don't know. This is the issue. We have cap 40 to cap 240. But let me put 240 in first. So we know James is going to go in because he's playing. We then want a player that will be playing with a low score. So a player that will play. Connor Roberts, interestingly, did play last game. Did play 67 minutes. Shot 20 AA. Have the championship lineups been put up? We need Leeds. The Leeds lineup is not up. The Watford lineup is up. Hoyt's playing, Kayemba's playing, Dennis playing, Batman playing. Okay, that's all good to know. As expected, very similar lineup as always for Watford. Danny Williams at a 47. He can go in. In the midfield, Isaac Hayden on a 43 is a very good card to be able to put in. So is obviously Zimmer. How's Isaac Hayden been playing recently? Not as good AA wise as previous game weeks. Do we go Sanchez, for example, and then Inaki Williams with the score 38 there, and then put in someone, for example, like I feel like someone like Felipe Mora, who's just on a very good decisive score, back Inaki Williams to bag a decisive action? Or is that wasting these players? This is the issue I've got with lineups at the moment. And not stacking lineups either. It is right. Do we put this in, or do I go for example, the option of playing a champion lineup with no goalkeeper, but just hoping that the team's good enough to grind a couple boxes? if that makes sense. Do I put this in All-Star? Do I feel like this is more likely to get a reward in All-Star? Apologies, guys. There's so much going on in my head right now. Let's go with our Contender Classics Limited lineup. Let's do that first. But I would rather have him playing in All-Star, to be honest, because he is going to keep a clean sheet. Right, we are going to go with our All-Star Limited team. We're going to prioritise All-Star. Kim Jin Hwan is going to go in. We are then going to be putting in Paulo Diaz. He's too good to not play. He's one of those players where, yes, he had a bad game, he got subbed off at half time, but he's too good to not play. Let's just make sure he is not injured and is expected to play. Where's the Argentinian? Argentina. Boca Juniors, River Plate. Paulo Diaz has at 60%. I don't like that. Injury last match. Potential injury last match. Barco. It's only at 60%, which I don't like, but they are playing Boca Juniors. River Plate Boca Juniors is a huge game to play, and maybe they just take him off at halftime as a precaution. We're going to back him. We're going to back him. He's going to go in. We are then going to play. I quite like Eric Martel, to be honest. Didn't play this game because he got a yellow card. Can score pretty well. They are playing at home. Previous home score is not the best, but it is a very important game. But is someone like Sanchez just too good not to play with that? 45%, he's too good to not play with that chance of him scoring goals, to be honest. Then Inaki Williams has to go in just for that AA rating into here. And then I'd probably say, does Acuna go in? Do I play him for the chance that he does shoot a 70? Or do I... And I have got Usami, who just is good. He's just a very good player. Like, when you look at last two games, Usami's too good to not use. And we're gonna. Do I want to captain Nike Williams? If Paulo Diaz starts, chances are he scores a 70 or an 80. We're gonna captain. We're gonna go for it, guys. We are gonna go for it. We are splitting everything up big time here. We're gonna go 240 now. We are gonna put James in, like I said. We are then gonna put Danny Vivian in to that lineup. We're going to put Eric Martel in because I feel like he can score well in that game. Why is Usami showing up here? Apologies, I might put the wrong. But Kuno in. I don't want a Kuno in. I would like to have Usami in. There we go. Perfect. Let's go back to 240. James in. Danny Vivian in. Eric Martel in. Felipe Moore goes in for that game. And do we play someone like Yuri goes in for that defensive stack? Yuri can shoot crazy high scores. So it's giving me a very, very low rating here. It's giving me a very low rating. But we're gonna go with that team. We then have got Contender. We still have Contender Classic. Now, is he going to play? Is the question. Vallejo, Spanish League 2. Apologies for the length of the video, everyone. You can see my brains. This is probably the hardest game week I've had when putting teams together. Spain 2. Eldense. Ian McKay, 55%. And, okay, so he's not going to play at all. He's expected not to play at all, which is a shame. And then it's like, am I wasting the lineup by putting these players in? I wouldn't say, if I put them in Div 5, to be honest, they're good enough to quote unquote grind a special. We obviously do have a lot more players, as you can see. However, I'm going to leave it there for the video, guys. These other players, what I'll do is I will put them into lineups. Obviously, they will go into lineups, but they won't go into priority lineups. So obviously, we don't have our Brighton stack, we don't have our Rosario stack. When we're looking at the teams themselves, Sorare data is giving me highest score team being Champion Classic Limited, which I'm very, very hopeful for. We then obviously do have the split stack with the Watford boys, Evander, Dante and Lewis, which is one of those that's like, I don't really know what's going to go on. We have got the Standard Liège boys who can hopefully, if they keep a clean sheet and get a few goals, will be very, very interesting. I'm excited to see how All-Star play. A bit of a mix and match. Few J-League players, few La Liga players, and Paulo Diaz in there. Very weird team, very weird lineup. They're all very weird lineups, these lineups. We've got the FC Kaiserslautern boys obviously playing, needing to keep a clean sheet and needing to win the game. There's a lot on the line this weekend. There's a lot going on. There's a lot that could go right. There's a lot that could go wrong. I will obviously put together, like I said, some other teams that don't have a starting keeper, but 4 players will play, and hopefully we can grind a box in those divisions will be the plan. But yeah, that is going to be it for this week, guys. Apologies for the length of the video. I have tried to keep it slightly shorter than I normally do, as always, but we will see what happens. As always, you know me, I normally end up chopping and changing things. I will stay updated. It obviously depends as well tomorrow on any news I hear in regards to injuries or team moving around. Like there's a rumour that Bodart may not play, and they want to play their 18-year-old keeper because they can't get anything out of these games. So there's a lot going on at the moment within the leagues themselves, especially since they're going into playoffs, a lot of the leagues. But that is going to be it for the video. As always, thank you very much for watching. If you are new around here, then please drop a like on the video and subscribe. And if you have made it all the way to the end, then thank you very much. I appreciate all the comments and all the support on my videos recently, and I will see you in the next one.